Ladies and gentlemen, this webinar is about to commence. We seek your cooperation to kindly mute your mic to avoid any interruption. Your cooperation is much appreciated. Thank you. We welcome our guest speaker for tonight, Dr. Thariq bin Azizuddin Khan, Senior Lecturer for Sports Psychology, Fakulti of Sports Science and Coaching, Universiti Pendidikan Sultan Idris, and Honorable UTP Drillers player and audience from the live platform. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good evening. Welcome to UTP Drillers webinar session 1. I am Irfan Akmal Shahmi and I will be your moderator for tonight. It is indeed a great pleasure for us to have all of you here in this webinar tonight. Before starting tonight's webinar, let us seek blessing from the Almighty by reciting doa led by Aiman Hanif bin Hanafi. Welcome.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Al-Fatihah. A'udzubillahi minasyaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki yaumiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Shiratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi. A'udzubillahi minasyaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Hamdan yuwafi ni'amahu wa yukafi'u mazidah. Ya Rabbana lakal hamdu kama yanbaghi li jalal wajhika wa 'azimi sultanik. Allahumma ya Rahman, ya Karim, ya Allah. Engkaulah yang mempunyai segala kepujian. Engkaulah yang berhak menerima segala kepujian. Engkaulah yang berhak menerima segala kesyukuran. Engkaulah yang memiliki segala pemerintahan. Dan di tangan Engkaulah ya Allah segala kebajikan, dan kepada Engkaulah kembali segala urusan. Ya Allah, ya Zal Jalali wal Ikram. Ya Allah, ya Tuhan kami, Kau cucurilah rahmat dan rahimmu ke atas majlis kami, iaitu UTP Drillers Webinar Session Preparing for Return to Rugby, yang akan diadakan pada malam yang barakah ini. Ya Allah, berkatilah ia daripada awal hingga ke akhir majlis ini. Ya Allah, ya Tuhan kami juga memohon perlindungan daripada-Mu. Ya Allah, Engkau lindungilah diri kami semua daripada penyakit COVID-19, Ya Allah. Dan Engkau jauhilah kami, Ya Allah, daripada segala penyakit, bala bencana dan perkara yang tidak diingini, Ya Allah. Dan Kau hapuskanlah penyakit COVID-19 ini daripada bumi ini, Ya Allah. Rabbana hablana min azwajina wa zurriyatina qurrata a'yunin waj'alna lil muttaqina imama. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azaban nar. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Thank you, Irfan.
Amin amin ya rabbal alamin. Thank you Aiman Hanif for the doa recitation. Ladies and gentlemen, UTP Drillers Management Team has planned 4 webinars for this month, and tonight is our first webinar out of 4, which entitled Preparing for Return to Rugby. This is collaboration between UTP Drillers, Akademi Ragbi Malaysia, and Malaysia Rugby. This webinar gathers not just UTP Drillers player, but also people who interested in sports, who longing to make a comeback from a long break due to pandemic. Our webinar tonight will be focused on how a sports player can prepare for a comeback. Without any further ado, I invite Dr. Thariq, Senior Lecturer for Sports Psychology from UPSI, to give his talk about preparing for return to rugby. Please welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good night to everybody. Thank you very much, our chairperson. First of all, I would like to thank UTP Drillers for organizing this webinar. Thank you very much to Dr. Cikgu Effendi, Coach Zach for be part of this webinar. It's been my honor to be part of this webinar, and then I'll be given the first slot with the title of preparing, returning to rugby in the perspective of psychology. First of all, I would like to thanks and welcome all sports committee in this Google platform, and those who are in the Facebook live as well. First of all, I think I would like to conduct this webinar a bit casual, not as what our chairperson started with, yeah. And then I would like to have some of the session in Malay as well, as what I've been, sometimes Malay, sometimes when you speak in Malang, it comes from your heart. It comes, it comes going to touch everybody, yeah. And then especially, I think, in relation to this sports psychology, perhaps some of our friends that might having a problem to, to understand, to grasp whatever we try to share with you all today. So the overview of what I'm going to do today, what we're going to explore today. I would like to thank Akademi Ragbi Malaysia as well to be part of this plan, to be part of the rugby community webinar, even though we have a COVID-19 and nobody have be able to come with a physical program, face-to-face program. So I think this is the best platform. But I think the best thing we pray for in the shorter time that we can meet and we can start our training. We can start our program. So it'll be a meaningful one. Yeah. So the only of our days, perhaps get some information that this webinar has been conducted by UTP Drillers. I mean, rugby team from UTP, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Ashraf? Yeah. Okay. So it will be great that this is the second time where first webinar have been conducted with KRM that I work with this coaches or official from rugby. So this is the second time, and then the KRM try to look into the rugby players. Okay, coming back to the overview. First of all, I would like to explore. I will explain. I have my presentation here, slide presentation. We like to explore in relation of introduction. Normally, what is sports psychology actually? Yeah, what is sports psychology actually? And then what things that affected athlete in relation to psychology? And then second part is overview of what happened in COVID. What types of behavior, what element that affected athlete, and this finding I tried to get it from other sources, and this 2020 and 2021 research where I tried to gain as much information. Study have been conducted in relation to how this COVID-19 affected athletes. From there onward, then we know how COVID-19 and all this behavior affected athletes. And after that, we're going to explore in relation to sports psychology, the meaning of sports psychology, introduction. Of course, I think everybody would like to know that. And then, as usual, I would like to give some takeaway skill for all those who are, with us. So there are so many training program, psychological skill training, or we can call it PST. Psychological skill training can be applied in relation to the psychology preparation. But I've chosen two, in particularly. One is REBT. This REBT have been sparked by one of our friend from the previous webinar. it's short form from rational emotive behavior therapy, or we can call it cognitive behavior therapy, or we can call it husnuzon. I try to make it in Islamic way. Husnuzon, think positive and have a bersangka baik with God, bersangka baik with everybody, and especially the most important thing is bersangka baik with yourself. We would like to explore that and how we can tackle any psychological consequence related to MCO. And then if we have time, perhaps I would like to explore. It's related to the RBT as well. It's about self-talk. How do you employ self-talk to improve your mindset, to improve your behavior, to improve your effort, to improve your mood, to improve your skill, especially. Okay. So that should be the overview of it. Even though just now I mentioned that I'm going to conduct in Malay, some in Malay, yet when everything go on, then it just go to whatever it can lah. We try to make it, and I would like to make it as casual as we can. Although I know everything conducted by university always to have the familiarity, formality and everything. But please stop me if you have anything to ask. Please ask me. Please come with a question at any time and stop me, and we can try to exchange some information. So I would like to present my slides. Bear with me. Where is? I'm having a problem to present my slide here. Anybody can help me? Can someone give me access to the slide presentation?
Boleh share tak?
Yeah, cannot. The icon, the icon memang have been blocked by organizer or something.
Admin.
Fine.
Fifi. Ya, admin ARM.
Oh yeah, correct. Yeah.
Kena allow to share tu.
Yeah.
Okay dah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Let's go.
Belum apa. So this is the normal trend like nowadays. We're just talking to ourselves. I'm talking to the screen. So please bear with me. Sometimes I like to have a positive relation with you all. Try to make it as communicative as we can. So we have meaning. There are some need to be gained to the presenter as well. So sometimes we try to fulfill our need as well. So that's why some presenter like to do this and that. So okay, I hope you all can see my slide. Okay. All right. Okay, so I'm from Universiti Pendidikan Sultan Idris, where I'm at the Faculty of Sports Science Coaching. Perhaps we don't have that strong team as UTP Drillers, but we are coming. So be aware of our team. We have all resources, all the national coach with us. Perhaps we can be as far as UTP Drillers and as far as UPM and so on and so forth. I don't know in what category our rugby team. I'm also part of the athletics team, so I'm chief coach for my university team, and I'm also some information regarding my work with sports psychology with athletes I'm also explore preparing some psychological team from professional team, football team like last time the Perak team, Perak junior team, and then rugby team, and where I'm in Melbourne, I also consulted one of the netball university netball team that participate in very competitive and competitive futsal team. Okay. First of all, so this information I gathered from latest research, how COVID-19 has affected athletes. But for all information, if we compare to the sedentary people who are not involved in sports and those who are athletes, athletes have a better, psychological defense, psychological strengthening, psychological toughness. Where a few studies have been conducted in 2010 to 2021 show that in relation to be isolated when they are MCO and everything, in relation to be not given the opportunity to meet everybody, go on field and practice whatever you want to practice, athletes have a better psychological defense, and their motivation is not so bad compared to non-athletes. So yet some study have been conducted in relation to the athlete, looking at the athlete, perspective of athlete, what happened during this COVID-19, and still we are in the COVID situation. We don't know what's going to happen in future. But before we can conduct, before we can explore something, before we can returning to the sport, we can returning to rugby, information regarding what happened to us is really important. So unfortunately, we don't have much data related to the local setting. So this is in relation to studies conducted overseas. But in general, athletes are almost the same, because we are a very active person. We are always there. We are highly motivated. We are loving by everybody, because we are very active. We are talkative. We are dynamic and so on and so forth. However, when COVID-19 happened, of course, this is going to affect the athlete. And then study from this previous research showing that most of athletes, this is the four main important thing that affected the athlete. One of it is they have low self-confidence and lack of self-belief. Most important thing is because if you are a sports science student, the most important philosophy in training is reversibility. After a few time frame, some time frame, your fitness, your confidence, your skill will come back to the level of reversibility, where you not perform better, you not perform good as when you are in training. So 2 years is no longer is reversibility. 2 years is disaster for athlete. So without doing their training, I don't think I think everybody being affected. Even the UTP drillers, because only national team who are preparing for Olympic, preparing for World Championship, who are in the bubble in ISN, who have access to train. Is it? If we talk about Malaysian setting, everybody have that opportunity to train, and of course, because of that, the fitness level, the skill, the motivation, the strength, total body strength and specific strength will come down, and the most important thing, we are not meeting our friend. It makes our mood coming down, and then of course, I think this is a good study showing that almost all have a low confidence and less self-belief because of not training. We not feel that we are good athlete anymore, and this also going to affect our feeling. We talked about psychology. What is psychology? After this, we go to a bit deeper. What is psychology? First of all, we like to explore what are the problem first, because of the low confidence and generally lack of self-belief. it increased the feelings of worry, or worry about our performance, worry about our career, worry about our sport, worry about uncertainties, especially when we talk about COVID, because we don't know what is going to happen in future. We don't know when we can start training. We don't know when we can, be fit. We don't know when we can meet our friend, our lovely friend, and enjoy our activity together. Yeah, and this also increase the level of stress. And then this stress is, stress is okay because they have stress and de-stress. But this stress, I think, it's increasing time by time because of these uncertainties in future. Because of, as an athlete, as an active person, we don't know when we can start training, when we can move on, when we can play with our friends, And the stress, if you not control it, it becomes depression. And then combination of depression is anxiety, where you feel not feeling well, your psychological, your emotion, and then you affected your behavior. You behave differently compared to what you are now. I think everybody have, most of us have this, general or the same problem as the COVID-19, because we cannot go out, we cannot play, we cannot be active. We have to be sedentary. We have to stop our game. We stop something that we love. And then I add up one more thing, where when all of this happen, there will be lots of negative self-talk. We start to talking to ourselves. When we cannot meet others and talking, we start to talking ourselves. It's good to talk to yourself, but in relation to COVID, all the negative self-talk are coming. So within these four information I gather from general studies related to the COVID-19, we would like to explore the psychological part first. But before we explore the psychological part, you have to know what is psychology. Perhaps all the psychologists, sports science student, well known, perhaps get some information regarding psychology. And I always start my webinar, my slot, my training, psychological skill training, with a basic of what is sports psychology. It is science. It's not that intuition where people can guess, people can guess our performance by just looking at them. It's about science of behavior. When we talk about science of behavior, it is something that you can replicate. It's something that you can test. It's something that you can train. It's something that you can use some guides, some procedures, scientific procedures that it will affect your behaviors. And the most important thing in sports, we would like to have in relation to sports psychology, I have two philosophy, my own philosophy, where in sports psychology, my foundation of giving intervention is to enhance performance, one, and the second one to enhance personal life development. You can have a better athlete, you can have a strong athlete, you can have a world champion, but if your life development is not so good, I think it's not going to have a holistic person. We would like to have a person that have achieved their very best. Nobody can be a world champion, nobody can be an Olympian, but they perform at their very best and they are a better person. And then the most important thing, individual differences. People behave differently. We are different. Race, different race. They have been brought by, raised by in religion, different culture, from different location, from different school and education background. Yeah. So when we talk about sports psychology, there must be individual differences factor have been taken to consider before any training, any intervention be conducted. And then when we talk about psychology, when we talk about behavior, these are the common things lah. What is anxiety, the stress, motivation, attribution, the self-confidence, attention, personality, and so on and so forth lah. Okay. Unfortunately, we cannot explore this in 1 hour. So I'll be given 1 hour, around 1 hour and 50 minutes. After that, we're going to have a Q&A so we can share more. And perhaps I can answer. If I cannot answer, I will seek some information and answer. Come back to you all after this. Okay. Okay. So when we talk about psychology, when we talk about returning to sports, the most important thing, like I present just now, you know what happened to athlete, and then you know what is sports psychology, science of behavior. Perhaps we can manipulate behavior so we can perform better. So in sports psychology, the most important term is EST, psychological skill training. Again, the keyword of individual differences is most important thing. Different people need different intervention. Different people have different problems. Different people have different worry. So returning to sport to everybody, I cannot conduct on my own. So that's why I'm just choosing two, perhaps psychological skill training, to guide for you all that you can conduct on your own. So perhaps you have a better preparation for you to return to sports. We pray for it's going to happen in shorter time. In 2-3 days, perhaps when everybody be able to cross border and play and compete, and competition be conducted, be organized by the KRM or whatsoever. Yeah, and then another thing is regarding on who are in need of the PST. How are we going to conduct it? When? Why? What? So PST program is not as simple as just call one person and conduct one motivation program and everybody is strong in motivation. No, it doesn't happen like that. Perhaps with this webinar we can share some information. Perhaps if you're having a problem, you think that you needs to have someone to consult to improve your performance, then you can gain information. And in many, I think most of university now have their around 6 or 8 university have been offer sports psychology or sports science, where sports psychology, one of the element have been teaching in sports science, and our graduate have been all over this country. They have that capability, they have that competency of providing this psychological skill training, and it cannot be conducted in mass. In one psychologist cannot do intervention for 100 people, because of that individual differences. Yeah. Yet in this webinar, I would like to give you some psychological takeaway skill, so you can conduct on your own. What do you what that really need, or in relation to yourself. Okay, in this slide I have two contradicted pictures or photograph. This is Cindy Wong, and another one is our champion from rugby champion with muscular. Yet we don't know who have a better psychological preparation. As Cindy, during her 7-month pregnant, still competing in World Championship, Masters World Championship. So I just put it here as a contradicted. It doesn't mean you have a strong body. It doesn't mean you have a fit body. You're going to have a fit and strong mind. Yeah. In relation to our job as a psychologist, we provide an athlete with a PST, psychological skill training, and there is a lot of PST. So I highlighted here REBT, rational emotive behavior therapy. So I just convert it to husnuzon. Bersangka baik dengan everything, bersangka baik to yourself, bersangka baik dengan Tuhan, bersangka baik to whatever situation happen, especially during this COVID-19. And how are you going to apply it? Although it's a very technical one, we're going to try with a few psychological training that I highlighted here is self-talk, positive self-talk. So here highlight only two of it. We have different psychology skill training, such as imagery, team cohesion, and on and on and on and on. Yeah. So for today, perhaps we can bring home this REBT or husnuzon that I've been playing with you all. And then the most important thing you have to diagnose, you have to know what happened to you, what happened to your team, what are the main things that happen to UTP drillers. Are we lack of team? Are we lack of belonging in team? Are we lack of combination, cohesion in team? Are we lack of individuals, motivation, and so on and so forth? And then sometimes you are the one who have a better knowledge regarding what happened to yourself, what have affected yourself. If you not, you have to go through the diagnose session where sports psychologists have to come and understand the problem, to understand what are the problem, when it started, how long it started, how it's affected you. This question need to be asked. Okay. But from the information we have just now, I already table out at the beginning of the presentation. There are four important information that we know from the study or research have been conducted. Yeah, it's regarding the worry, regarding the self-beliefs and so on and so forth. Okay, we come to our intervention. Is about that I'm going to share with you is about REBT, rational emotive behavior therapy, or cognitive behavior therapy, or it's about cognitive. But first of all, I would like to share some video, so you have some break or some better picture, some example of how we can change bad incident, bad negative situation, negative performance that happened to us to something that positive. And then nobody cares about us. It's just us who are going to change our behaviors, going to change our luck, we're going to change our motivation, is going to change our performance. Yeah. So I stop presenting now. I'll present with you all with other video. Okay. Let's see. Okay.
I lived in death for 10 days.
Can everyone's here and loud and clear?
Yes,
Okay, clear.
Just pause, okay? Enjoy your video first, then we discuss.
I was on a training bike ride with my fellow teammates, headed for the 1988 Winter Olympics in Calgary. As we made our way up to the beautiful Blue Mountains west of Sydney, it was the perfect autumn day. We'd been on our bikes for around 5.5 hours, and we got to the part of the ride that I loved, and that was the hills, because I loved the hills. I looked up to see the sun shining in my face, and then everything went black. Where was I? What was happening? My body was consumed by pain. I'd been hit by a speeding truck with only 10 minutes to go on the bike ride. I was airlifted from the scene of the accident. I'd broken my neck and my back in six places. My whole right side was ripped open and filled with gravel. My head was cut open across the front, lifted back, exposing the skull underneath. I had head injuries, I had internal injuries, and I had massive blood loss. For 10 days, I drifted between two dimensions. I was in the fight of my life. After 10 days, I made the choice to return to my body. And when I did, the massive internal bleeding miraculously stopped. The next question was whether I would walk again, because I was paralyzed from the waist down. I woke up in intensive care to the news if the operation had been a success. Because at that point, I had a little bit of movement in one of my big toes. And I thought, great, because I'm going to the Olympics. But then the doctor came over and said to me, matter-of-factly, Janine, the operation was a success, but the damage is permanent. The central nervous system knows and there is no cure. So although we think you may get some feeling back from the waist down, you will have internal injuries for the rest of your life. You will have to use a catheter. And if you walk again, it will be with calipers and a walking frame. You're going to have to rethink everything you do in your life because you are never going to be able to do the things you did before. I was an athlete My body was everything. If I couldn't do that, if I wasn't that, then who was I? After almost 6 months, it was time to leave the spinal ward. I was in a wheelchair and a plaster body cast. All I wanted to do was to go home and get my life back and learn how to walk. But the head nurse at the hospital said to me, I want you to be ready because when you get home, something's going to happen. She said, you're going to get depressed. I said, not me, not Janine the machine. She said, it happens to everybody. I was in a wheelchair. A plaster body cast attached to a catheter bottle. I had no feeling from the waist down. I wanted my life back. I wanted to put my running shoes on and run out the door. But I couldn't. And I got depressed. There were days when I didn't want to get out of bed, and days when I did get out of bed. And I can remember my mum sitting on the bed and we were both crying. And she said, wonder if life will ever be good again. And I thought, how could it? Because I've lost everything that I valued. At home, sitting outside in my plaster body cast. An aeroplane flew over my house. And in that moment, my eyes and my mind were open. I stopped asking, why me? And I began to ask, why not me? And I looked up and I thought, well, that's it. If I can't walk, then I might as well fly. So weeks later, my mum and my friend Chris, they bought me a pair of baggy overalls and they drove me to the local airport, Bankstown Airport, and they carried me in. And I held on to the counter because I couldn't even stand on my own. I said, I'm here for my flying lesson. And they ran out the back to draw short straws. Oh my God. And this guy came out, Andrew, and said, hi, I'm going to take you flying. I said, great. So they put me in the car and they drove me down to the tarmac. And there on the tarmac was a red, white and blue airplane. I had never seen anything so beautiful before. They lifted me up into the aircraft. They put me in the front seat. They did my seatbelt up. He got a clearance from the tower. And he took off down the runway. And as the wheels lifted off the runway, I felt the most incredible sense of freedom. And then as we flew over the training area at Bankstown Airport, Andrew said to me, he said, right, you see those mountains over there? And I said, yes, as I looked towards the Blue Mountains, west of Sydney, where my journey had begun. And he said, you take the controls and you head towards those mountains. And I did. And I was flying. And I knew right then that I was going to be a pilot. I didn't know how on earth I'd ever pass a medical, but that didn't matter because I had a dream and nothing was going to stop me. All I could do in the beginning was lie on the ground and lift my legs this far, maybe an inch. But it was better than nothing. And I practiced my walking as much as I could. And I went from the point of 2 people holding me up to one person holding me up, to the point where I could walk around the house holding onto the furniture as long as it wasn't too far apart. So while the doctors continued to put my body back together again, I went on with my theory study. And then amazingly, eventually, I passed my pilot's medical. And I had my bag medication and catheters and my funny walk, and they would look at me and think, who was she kidding? She's never going to be able to do this. And sometimes I thought there was something inside me that would stop. I learned to fly. I went for my first solo and I got my private pilot. I flew around Australia, got my private pilot license. And then I learned to fly in bad weather as well as fine weather. And then I got my commercial pilot's license. And then I got instructor rating. And then I found myself at that same school where I'd gone for that very first flight, teaching other people how to fly. In just over 12 months after I'd left the spinal ward. I wasn't meant to live, I wasn't meant to walk, and I wasn't meant to fly. Our bodies may be limited, but it's our spirit that's unstoppable. I now know that it wasn't until I let go of who I thought I was that I had the freedom to create something completely new for my life. It wasn't until I let go of the life I thought I was supposed to have, that I'd worked so hard for, that I was able to embrace possibilities. Wait a minute. I now know that my real strength never came from my body. Unlike anything you can lose in life, the defiant human spirit remains steadfast. And of this I'm certain. I am not my body. And you, my dear friends, are not yours. When you choose courage in the face of fear, you defy the things that hold you back from greatness. It's a daunting task. And you might well ask, where do I begin? Where do I start? Well, perhaps the simple words of this poem might offer a clue. He said to build a better world. I said I would, but how? The world is such a cold, dark place and complicated now. For I am small and helpless. There's nothing I can do. He said, of course there is. Just build a better you.
Okay, still can hear me loud and clear?
Yes, Dok. Boleh dengar.
Okay, thank you.
Boleh.
Alright, so the video is in relation to the Australian athlete. For those in study hard, and then of course, perhaps you can be in Australia. Betul tak, Coach Zack? One day and Blue Mountain, yeah.
InsyaAllah.
Inshallah. Yeah.
Boleh.
Start from onward, I would like to get permission from the organizer. May I speak in Malay because we are going to explore the intervention. Yeah.
Can.
Okay, terima kasih.
Boleh.
Okay. So kita continue kita punya presentation webinar ini dengan bahasa Melayu. Dan saya nak intervensi yang agak complicated. Yang kadang-kadang still when you talk about feeling, kadang-kadang all information yang menggambarkan perasaan tu, yang digambarkan dalam bahasa Inggeris tu kadang-kadang tak sama dengan yang digambarkan dalam bahasa our mother tongue. Okay. Saya start balik presenting live presentation. Okay. Okay, boleh nampak? Clear?
Boleh, Dok.
Alright, okay. RBT. So what is RBT? Dan tujuan utama saya bagi video tadi untuk menggambarkan bahawa semua orang tak dapat lari daripada peristiwa yang macam disaster. Yang akan membunuh kita punya career, yang akan macam dark atau titik hitam dalam kehidupan kita lah. So bagi atlet tadi, Jenny tadi, memang as an athlete, kalau kena spinal cord injury dan tak boleh jalan dan tak boleh everything, this end of our life. Sama juga saya rasa is end of our life when the COVID-19 happened. Especially to athlete. Imagine an athlete have been trained for how many years preparing for the what? Masum, preparing for MSSM. Kita cakap in the perspective of kita punya lah kan, atlet-atlet yang prepare peringkat sekolah, peringkat kebangsaan dan sebagainya. Dia dah prepare. No MSSM for 2 years, no Masum for 2 years, no kejohanan kebangsaan for 2 years. Imagine that is disaster. When is disaster, bila kita train dengan begitu ni sekali kan, tiba-tiba benda tu tak dapat dijalankan, memang tidak MCO dan COVID-19 akan affected us. Dari presentation saya yang tadi mula-mula tu tunjukkan perkara-perkara yang boleh menyebabkan tekanan kepada atlet. Saya rasa tekanan ini juga berlaku pada semua players rugby. So ini sebab UTP Drillers yang buat, so we concentrate on UTP Drillers lah. First thing adalah saya rasa macam kita cakap tadi, kita tak dapat training. Bila atlet tak dapat training, ini satu perkara yang sangat-sangat merisau, menggelisahkan kita. Okay, kalau kita tinjau dari sudut physiological saja, as simple as active lifestyle, training, be active, membahagiakan kita. Ada simple explanation, tak simple lah, physiology explanation. Because with body movement saja, dengan activity saja, dengan train saja, ada banyak stimulus neurotransmitter yang dikeluarkan. Serotonin, norepinephrine, epinephrine yang bagi kita rasa gembira, bagi kita rasa motivation, bagi kita rasa bertenaga, adrenaline dan sebagainya kan. Hanya boleh dikeluarkan dengan aktiviti kita. Tapi bayangan kita tak boleh keluar, tak boleh main and everything. Memang ini semua akan menyebabkan perasaan, jiwa, tekanan kepada atlet. So tekanan ini semua berlaku pada diri kita sendiri, dan siapa yang tanggung diri kita sendiri, dan siapa yang rasa diri sendiri. Kita dapat statistiknya, kalaulah kita membawa perasaan tu, kita sendiri tanggung. You are going to suffer your bad performance, you are going to suffer your sorrow, your depression and everything, and so on and so forth. So saya come up with take away training skill hari ni. Hopefully dia berguna. Saya tak tahu masa tak masa untuk bawa-bawa lagi. Kita, apa ini RBT? RBT ni particularly sebenarnya asal dari Robert Ellis ni berasal daripada satu psychology training, satu intervention yang digunakan untuk clinical psychology, clinical psychologist. So tetapi pada pendapat saya, saya cuba extract dan juga bincang dalam webinar ni sebab berdasarkan tajuk ini diberikan kepada saya, returning from returning rugby, kembali untuk bermain setelah kita menghadapi COVID-19 ni kan, menghadapi tekanan jiwa, tekanan perasaan, tekanan tak dapat aktiviti. Saya rasa semua orang menghadapinya, dan saya juga ingin share ni agar psychological skill training ini boleh digunakan dalam kehidupan. Dia bukan saja untuk tajuk kita inilah. Dia boleh gunakan sebagai life development. Rational emotional behavior therapy. Dari perkataan bahasa Inggeris, as simple as kita berfikiran rasional yang menyebabkan emosi dan tingkah laku kita berubah. Kita fikir disebab kognitif ataupun CBT, cognitive behavior therapy. Kita berfikir, kita bertingkah laku, terapi kita bertingkah laku. Ataupun ada juga disebut sebagai wellness brand. Bagi saya nak guna satu key term yang paling senang, husnuzon, positif. Okey? Dia melibatkan tentang pemikiran-pemikiran tidak rasional. Kan, pemikiran-pemikiran rasional yang berlaku pada diri kita, yang kita fikirkan. Apabila kita fikirkan tu, ada situasi berlaku, kita fikirkan benda tu dan kita akan bertingkah laku kerana kita fikirkan. So if happen, apa kita nak buat? If happen, saya rasa tidak semua orang menghadapi, sikit sebanyak ada menghadapinya kan, pemikiran tidak rasional ni. Jika ia sikit-sikit, jika dia boleh dibendung, okey. Tapi jika dia tidak boleh dibendung, kita berfikiran dengan sangat-sangat tidak rasional, kita akan bertingkah laku juga tidak rasional. Kan, kita tengok kalau dalam bahasa paling mudah, emo lah kan, ataupun psycho hari itu term yang selalu senang digunakan oleh kawan-kawan. Atau dia tengok, dia ni kaki emo kan, dia ni kuat merajuk, macam tu contohnya kan. Kenapa ini berlaku? Apabila dia kuat merajuk, apabila dia emo, apa dia buat? Dia akan menjauhkan diri daripada ini. Dia akan tak mau get involved with friends, tak mau training dan sebagainya. Stop, get away, lari daripada masalah dan sebagainya. Tidak berusaha untuk berjuang seterusnya kan. Jadi it's different. Walaupun disaster, spinal cord injury, tapi still can change it to positive thing dan buat benda yang lebih excellent yang tak mungkin dia buat jika dia boleh jalan semasa dia jadi atlet. So RBT ni adalah yang menceritakan atau information tentang pemikiran, kepercayaan yang tidak rasional yang menyebabkan disebabkan oleh satu situasi dan menyebabkan kita bertingkah laku secara tak rasional. Simple aja. Dan ini boleh diubah. Dan kita sendiri boleh mengubahkannya. Okey. Apa sebabnya berlakunya pemikiran tidak rasional ni? Okey, dalam sini slide ni mungkin gelap, tak berapa nampak sikit, tapi nampak semudah ABCD. Wah, senang kan. Habis slide ni semua orang boleh buat. Tak sebegitulah kan. Tapi at least kita dapat information ni, kita boleh guna, kita boleh rasa apa berlaku pada kita boleh buat. A di sini yang Robert Ellis bagi adalah A activation. Perkara-perkara yang menyebabkan kita berfikiran macam tu. Of course, selalunya perkara-perkara yang disaster lah. So dalam konteks yang kita bincang hari ni, webinar kita ni, COVID lah, MCO lah, tak boleh training lah, tak boleh perform, tak boleh pergi universiti, tak boleh jumpa member kan. As a sport person, tak ada masum dan sebagainya, tak boleh returning to sport, tak boleh main, tak boleh contact. Tambahlah kita rugby, kita contact game kan. So kita ambil sekarang A itu activation event adalah COVID-19 dan kita tahu COVID-19 telah memberi kesan yang besar. B, what is B? From acronym belief. Daripada situasi yang berlaku kita mula buat kepercayaan. Kita fikir belief. Ada orang mempunyai pemikiran rasional. Sentiasa boleh tak apa minggu depan COVID-19 turun, lepas tu lusa minggu lagi satu boleh start main. Ada orang negatif, tak ada lah, makin ribu makin naik lah, berhentilah main game kan. So we have individual differences yang have different belief. Satu situasi yang sama akan menyebabkan kaedah pemikiran berbeza antara satu sama lain. Daripada belief tu apa yang berlaku. Apabila kita fikir apa kita buat, kita akan bertingkah laku. Dia panggil apa? Consequence. Tingkah laku. Apa kita buat, apa kita buat.
Dok, maaf Dok.
Yep.
Besarkan sikit Dok. Susah ni kecil. Kat percentage tu, bawah tu.
Okey, saya cuba Okey. Boleh?
Sikit lagi.
Kita pergi yang ABCD dulu.
Okey.
Alright.
Tarik sikit. Okey.
Okey.
Thank you.
Okey. So A, event yang berlaku. Apabila berlaku satu situasi, sekarang ni COVID kita tak boleh training. B, kita mula timbul kepercayaan. Dah duduk sorang-sorang, tak boleh training, tak boleh jumpa kawan. Fikir bila nak cukup lah. Berhentilah main rugby, kita main video game lah kan. Belief. Stop lah team dah tak ada. Siapa pun tak boleh main kejuaraan kebangsaan, tak nak masuk tutup Olimpik pun tak ada. Aku boleh main macam mana kan. If you believe like that, there are consequences. What are the consequences? Feeling. Perasaan. Apa-apa yang you percaya akan menimbulkan perasaan. Kita manusia ni, combination kita adalah fikir, rasa, kan, kognitif, efektif. Lepas tu kita buat psikomotor. Kita perilaku, kita tingkah laku. Kita akan berkisar kepada tiga tu. Stimulasi, benda-benda yang berlaku pada kita, kemudian kita fikir, kita rasa, kita bertingkah laku. Kita fikir, kita rasa, itu pusingan. So, tak akan siapa-siapa dapat mengubah cara kita fikir dan cara kita rasa dan cara kita laku kecuali diri kita sendiri. So, sekejap lagi kita cari guide macam mana kita nak buat. Okay? So, dispute belief. Dah kita tahu tingkah laku ni yang menyebabkan konsekuensi yang kita nak. Kita kena cari kaedah untuk dispute ni macam mengelakkannya. Challenge belief ni. Ubah dia. Ubah dia. Siapa boleh ubah? Tak ada orang lain. Tak ada mamat lain boleh datang masuk dalam fikiran anda. Alamak, sorry. Dan ubahkannya. Effective new belief. So dia sebut ABCD. So teknik ni macam the systematic way for you to change the irrational belief because of some situation. So kita aware ada situasi yang berlaku menyebabkan kita kepercayaan itu. B, kita believe. Kalau kita ubah belief system itu akan menyebabkan kita berfikir dan berperasaan dan bertingkah laku sebagaimana yang kita nak. Kita nakkan sekarang. Lepas tu kita ubah balik kepercayaan yang negatif ni. Dan kita pegang kepada belief-belief yang baru. Okay. So apa yang menyebabkan kadang-kadang kita punya belief ni berlaku? So saya pergi on this side kan. Saya pergi on this side. Macam ni ceritalah kan. It's about emotion. Dan dia ada dua, healthy or unhealthy belief. Perasaan yang ataupun kepercayaan atau perasaan yang healthy dan perasaan yang unhealthy. Yang rational, yang kurang rational. Okey, contohnya. Apabila berlaku, kata untuk seseorang manusia ni, insan, perkara yang menyebabkan kita macam stres yang paling tinggi mestilah kematian. Betul tak? Kematian. Apabila berlaku kematian, boleh tak kita cakap, oh jangan sedih, mak kau mati, doakanlah saja. It's unfair tu kata macam tu, bukan? Bolehkah kita minta kawan kita supaya tidak sedih? Itu perkara yang sangat-sangat yang perlu dielakkan lah. Maksudnya, kita boleh rasa sedih, kita boleh rasa grief, kan? Kita boleh rasa bersedih dan berduka, tetapi berapa hari? Setakat mana? Dan apakah pemikiran-pemikiran yang disebabkan oleh kesedihan tu yang menyebabkan kita bertingkah laku macam mana? Sedih boleh, tapi sedih berhari-hari sampai tak makan, tak minum akibat situasi kematian itu adalah satu benda yang tak healthy. Sedih is healthy, but sorrow terus sedih, macam orang kata putus cinta, jatuh berjunam tu, tak healthy. So putus cinta, frust, it's okay to be frust, tapi kalau macam makan tak lalu, mandi tak basah, and then you jadi daripada handsome boy jadi selekeh, tak mau aku, inilah putus cinta terakhir lain. This is unhealthy one. Okay, unhealthy one. And so ini perlu dielakkan. Okay. So yang perlu kita kadang-kadang perlu fahami adalah apakah perasaan yang healthy, apa perasaan yang tidak healthy, kan? Marah juga perasaan yang healthy, tetapi rasa kemarahannya sangat mendalam sampai rasa benci dan sebagainya adalah healthy. Stres benda yang healthy, tapi yang tidak healthy. Dan sebab benda-benda yang tidak healthy ni akan menyebabkan kita bertingkah laku ke arah unhealthy lah. Contohnya tu ada kita rasa kecewa, tak apa, tapi frustration sampai kelas menongging tu ada tak healthy, sampai kita pun tak mau terus, don't want to continue our sport, don't want to continue our relation, tak mau jumpa orang lain, itu tak healthy. Ini semua timbul dari pemikiran-pemikiran yang tak rational. Habislah dunia ni, tak ada lah benda yang lebih baik, dan aku takkan berjumpa lah kasih sayang seperti ni. So kita kena aware, first thing kita kena aware apa perasaan-perasaan yang healthy, apa perasaan-perasaan kecewa healthy, tapi putus asa tak healthy. Kalau kita down in one tournament, kita tak boleh training, tak apa, kita rasa tak berapa cergas, it's okay, tapi terus tak mau training, tak mau duduk saja fikir bahawa dunia ini dah kiamat sebagainya, itu adalah satu benda yang healthy. So I believe all of you have that situation happen. Untuk jatuh tu tak apa, tapi we need to coming back. Dan tak ada orang yang boleh papah kita dan naik kecuali yourself. In relation to this RBT, this unhealthy emotion punya benda ni, tak ada siapa boleh korek kepala otak kita dan cakap, oh ni tak healthy, you need to ubah dia kepada yang healthy. Okay, ubah dia kepada yang healthy. Nobody is going to do that unless yourself. Okay, belief. Kita kadang-kadang kita mempunyai kepercayaan yang irrational. Tak rasional pun kita punya fikiran. Bolehkah kita berfikiran tak rasional? Boleh, tetapi we need to change it. And sometimes we need to believe that ini tidak rasional dan boleh diubah. Okay? Ada satu kajian yang dijalankan mengenai tentang behavior, kan? Behavior. Seekor, saya selalu sebut seekor kucing diletakkan dalam satu cage. Behavioris lah. Dia letak dalam cage, dia bawah tu mild elektrik. Kan? Apa kucing ni buat? Dia melompat-lompat. Sebab sakit. After a while, apabila dah satu masa, penyidik ni tengok kucing ni dah tak melompat lagi. Itu dia pergi try lah, tengok adakah tak ada elektrik ni. Masih ada elektrik. Tapi apa berlaku pada kucing ni? Dia dah create belief system. Dia dah create satu kepercayaan bahawa hopeless. Aku dah tak boleh selamat. Sakit pun sakitlah. Mati pun matilah. Tak payah lompat. Duduk situ. Dia endure all the pain. Macam ni juga jadi kita kena aware of REBT ni. Kita kena aware bahawa tingkah laku ataupun pemikiran-pemikiran tak rasional ni akan menyebabkan tingkah laku perkara-perkara yang tak rasional. So this need to be changed. Awak kena ubah ayat tu. Okay? Awak kena ubah. If something you have think irrational in your mind, we better write it down. Tulis down and change it. Ubah dia secara fizik and say again and again. Dan when you think rationally, your behavior will join it. Dia juga akan bertingkah laku rationally, secara yang lebih positif, secara yang lebih baik. Kita tengok tadi video Jenny tadi, kan, dia tak boleh terus jadi atlet, dia terus jadi pilot, jadi trainer dan sebagainya. Benda itu menjadi lebih positif daripada dia menjadi seorang lebih cemerlang daripada dia sebelum dia injured. Ini semua atas dasar kepercayaan atau pemikiran saja. We believe in something yang irrational, we akan behave to something irrational. We believe in something rational, we're going to behave in something rational. Okay? semua perasaan yang berlaku pada kita akibat situasi-situasi tertentu itu adalah biasa. Tetapi bagaimana kita mengawalnya akan menentukan tingkah laku kita kemudian. Dan kita kena aware ni. Apabila satu benda berlaku, kita aware, kita fikir, kemudian kita question ourselves. Ini rational ke tak rational? If you can write it down, write it down. Kemudian tulis salah satu rational punya statement di bawah tu. And then keep on cakap tentang, bagi tahu diri awak tentang benda yang rational tu. I will think about this and will behave like this. Yang rational punya. So emosi juga ada healthy yang tak healthy. Kita boleh rasa sedih, kita boleh rasa kecewa, kita boleh rasa malu, tetapi perasaan yang keterlaluan itu, kalau dalam bahasa Arab dia kata ghulu, melebih-lebih, itu satu yang unhealthy. So saya bawa ke ni, cuba ni, kita cuba, kalau kita tengok dari sudut Islamic atau keagamaan, Rasulullah pun ada bersabda kan, aku adalah menurut sangkaan hamba-Ku terhadapku dan aku adalah bersama dia apabila doa. Kita tidak pernah doa yang tidak baik-baik pada Tuhan kan. Kita tak boleh stop putus asa, kita tak boleh stop kecewa dengan Tuhan, kita tak boleh stop patah harapan dengan Tuhan, kerana apa yang kita minta tu semua tersedia, dan apa yang berlaku pada kita itu ada hikmahnya lah. And we need to be positive. Okay tak kalau kita sekali-sekala fikir tak positif? Okay. Tapi we cannot be on that position dalam jangka masa yang panjang. So you have to change. Be positive. Change all the negative phrase, all the negative thinking, all the negative belief. You need to do it on your own. Awak yang tahu, sebab kalau saya jadi psikologi, saya pun tak tahu apa yang berlaku. Awak mungkin tidak memberitahu perkara yang sebenarnya kepada saya, dan saya tak mungkin mengubahnya. You yang boleh mengubahnya. Dan bila you boleh mengubah? Now. Sekarang. Okay? Dan prinsip REBT ni boleh di-apply dalam kehidupan kita saja. Juga. Bukan dalam in competition, in training, in performance, but in your life development. Sebab as a human being, we're not going to have a very, very beautiful morning, a sunshine every day. Yeah? There will be a time that situation is going to be disasters. Disasters for you, not disasters for other. Betul tak? Kalau kita main game final, kau kalah, ini satu pencapaian yang paling buruk. Tapi pada atlet lain, itu pencapaian yang paling baik sebab dia menang. Sebab apa? Dia punya belief system. Kepada atlet yang tahu dia boleh perform and play game and perform better, itu adalah belief system yang positif, rather than kita percaya bahawa it's end of our life, tak boleh training dan sebagainya. Ia kena play rugby, tiba-tiba ACL putus, stop game rugby, pergi swimming, you still can be active, you still can compete, you still can perform. Petong, whatever, is it end of life? Tapi saya datang masuk dalam otak awak, ubah, unless you set. Sebab itu dalam Islam pun kita disarankan selalu berbuat baik. Apa yang kita minta, insya-Allah memberi. Sebab semua darinya ada positif. Tak pernah kita diminta untuk minta sesuatu yang negatif. Yet in RABT ni you have to be aware. Kita punya so in relation to that adalah a simple skill, psychological skill yang saya nak juga explore daripada RABT itu is self-talk. Diri kita dan apa yang kita cakap tu kadang-kadang menyebabkan kalau kita cakap pada orang luar kan, mampus orang tu tak mau kawan dengan kita. Mungkin kita bergaduh-gaduh, mungkin dia tak akan ni. Tapi all this negative talk, kita talk to ourselves, tapi kita benda tu kita akan cakap pada orang kita. Tapi kita kata pada diri kita. Adakah tuan-tuan dan perempuan berasa bahawa diri anda tidak kecewa bila anda cakap benda negatif? Sangat-sangat kecewa. Dengan kecewaan. Apabila dia fikir kecewa, dia betul laku dengan kecewaan. So this is the main point here. So perkara yang kita nak bawa balik hari ni adalah kita aware apa tentang pentingnya RBT, Rational Emotive Behavior Therapy. ataupun husnuzon ataupun cognitive behavior therapy, bahawa situasi tertentu menyebabkan kita berfikiran negatif, dan fikiran negatif ini menyebabkan kepercayaan negatif, kepercayaan negatif menyebabkan kalau tak sepatutnya kita buat. Ada healthy emosi, ada tak healthy. Healthy emosi ni kita boleh endure, kita boleh merasainya, kita boleh tak dapat lari daripadanya. Tapi unhealthy atau berlebihan ini menyebabkan kita bertingkah laku secara tidak baik. Dan satu kaedah yang amat mudah dipanggil self-talk. Whatever negative self-talk coming to you, you need to change it. How you going to change it? Okay, ini kita skip lah kan. Apa gunanya kan untuk action dan sebagainya and so on. Bagaimana kita nak buat? Tak payah cerita ke orang pun. Siapa pun tak tahu apa kita fikir. Siapa pun tak tahu. Dan kita saja tahu. So, jika kita ada bad word, kadang-kadang saya pun ada buat macam tu. Saya ada perkataan-perkataan yang ni. I'll try to listen up. Saya cuba ubahkan perkataan tu dengan perkataan-perkataan yang lebih okey. Ataupun apabila saya fikir benda-benda yang emosi yang saya tak mahu, saya akan guna perkataan-perkataan. So macam ni, example, stop. Dan saya buat secara verbal dan saya buat secara fizikal. Saya ketemu. Dan mungkin tuan-tuan tengok this tennis player yang ada gesture kan. In every game dia buat dan juga she say something to himself. Whenever bad situation happen, so you can practice that. Lepas tu you can list up. Irrational belief kan? Irrational belief, kepercayaan tu. Kalau COVID ni aku dah tak fit, dalam tim, habislah kerja aku sebagai UTP Drillers, ada banyak lagi ni datang perkataan semua ni. You rephrase. Okay? Apabila COVID habis ni, aku buka, semua orang boleh training balik. I'm not fit, everybody else not fit. Everybody have a better chance to become a better team. You need to change that word. Okay? You need to change that word. Okay. Kita kita dah sampai pukul 10. Saya sangat-sangat patuh kepada masa, kerana masa inilah yang, dan masa ini manusia dalam kerugian kan. On time mean start on time, dah habis on time. Saya tidak mahu menghabiskan masa orang, dan mungkin we going to have a Q&A session. So if you have something in your mind, this is my email and my phone number. Please introduce yourself before you WhatsApp or ask me. Saya doakan agar you have a better future, you have become a better athlete, you become a better person. Hopefully all these two psychological skills, this webinar information that we try to discuss, going to give you some good knowledge, some good experience. Kepada sesi Q&A mungkin kita ada banyak boleh bincang-bincang. So overview of, saya recap balik apa yang kita bincangkan tadi. First of all, before we can conduct anything, we need to solve problem. So I come up with listed four things that currently related to the COVID-19, why athlete behave like that, in relation to what happened to the COVID, because of violation, because of no time, so depression and so on, and negative self-talk. We explore what is psychology, science of behavior. From that science, because it's going through all the scientific procedure, itu tingkah laku yang boleh drama, boleh dikawal, you can train it, you can change it, and then we explore to skill training. Before you return to rugby, is for you to eliminate all this negative behavior, negative thinking, negative emotion, to something more positive. Yeah, you want to know what has in your mind. You study when you want to study it now. If you have it now, then you have to study it now. You as an athlete, as a student, that your future is still right in front, And then along the way, you're going to go through all this bad situation, all disastrous, and situation, the losing, the winning, the frustration, and you are the one who endure it. You are the one who are able to change. How do you going to change it? By having a positive self-talk, having a positive phrase, rephrase it, and then always talk positive. Always think about the positive. You have been decided. Okay. Saya harap perkongsian hari ini dapat memberi manfaat. So saya kembalikan kepada give back to Ashraf as a our moderator today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Thariq, for the wonderful talk. Now, if Dr. wouldn't mind, I will open the Q&A session for the audience to address their question to Doctor.
Yeah, sure. You can ask in Malay or English, or you can type in our docs or whatever you want it to be.
I think we have our first question from the in-call messages. From Aizad. What Doctor think the performance that we can expect after this pandemic? Can the player reach the quality or have the mindset like they used to be? Yeah, that's the first question, Doctor.
Okay, like we all know, in the principle of training, after a few times there are reversibility. Of course, you coming back, you're back to not optimal fitness, and it's not go with your physical, it's go with your mental as well, your psychological, your belief system, like study have been conducted just now that I show you in the slide, and then one most important thing, you're not a nationality, you have no privilege of training. Perhaps the one who train now is around 10 team, isn't it, in Malaysia? After the pandemic, they are those who are continue training, or those who are in overseas, training in overseas. How many of them from Malaysia? Less than 5. So we are in the same platform now. And what I think we can do is to aware, to acknowledge that we are now at this in the UPM team, even the our fitness is the same level. Who are the one who recover as much as you can, have a big mind, plan your own training, with your teammate. They're the one who are going to recover psychologically and physically and coming back in be as as it's just yourself, huh? But people, all of us cannot train. It means we are. So if you can come out with a positive mind, come out with a positive behavior, I think UTP Drillers will be the one in front. Then I think this is one of the main, one of the positive, be together, create this webinar, and after this you get another wonderful presenter, the Professor Dr. Akbar, Dr. Ikwan, and so on. I think it would be great. Not just doing this webinar, you must have a group session training, even though your friends in Sabah and so on, and then find the. I'm suggesting to my VC to call back all my athletes. I'll plan on some proposal. I don't know, because all of them are eager to coming back. So in terms of athletics, I'm calling back all my athletes, even though we students who can come to the faculty. So that is my plan. I don't know what this UTP Drillers plan. Okay, so I written back that vision. But the most important thing is have a very mind and plan something. Start planning and doing it. Not let the situation happen according to the situation, or not let the environment who master you, who accommodate your behavior, so on and so forth.
Dok, boleh tambah sikit tak? Dok? Salam Dok.
Ya.
Hello? Okay.
Ya.
Okey, nak yang apa tu elaborate apa yang Dok cakap tadi dalam bahasa mudah lah kepada semua pasal apa yang kita kena faham player reach the quality or have the mindset like they used to be. Kita takkan dapat capai apa yang kita used to be sekiranya kita tak usaha. Because pandemic ni something new. Okay, kita tak pernah alami. So no one have the anything yang solution. Sampai vaksin pun ada 2, ada booster. So the way is to change your mind lah. Okay, if you need to train, okay, you train hard. If you know because once you are top athlete ataupun high performance athlete, you tahu what is the requirement. So don't stay at the same area, at the same level, even though you are at home ataupun you sorang-sorang. Even though it's a team sport, but individually you have to be fit to support your teammate. Okay, so the solution is try to husnuzon macam Dok cakap tadi, to be at the better place and the better preparation for your team. Okay, rather than kita kata okay, what do you need, apa kitanya mental health ataupun kitanya cara kita quality mindset. So we individually have to change, and then we combine our team in psychologically to win the tournament. Okay, because only kalau seorang saja pun tak jadi, kalau 5 orang pun tak jadi, kalau 7 mesti 7-7, kalau 10 mesti 10, kalau 15 mesti 15. So everyone have to change. Dia tak boleh kata if I change, kawan saya tak change, so tak boleh. So individually we have to change in our time. Even Olympic pun semua training sendiri. So bila berjumpa, dia buat training pasukan. So to answer the question, I think for 1, 2 or 3 question about mindset is we have to be ready at all time because we are athletes, and the coaches must always give the program so that the continuous training is on. Tak boleh you kata okay kita tunggu dan bila masuk baru kita nak training. So that is not athlete. Okay, so itu je Dok. Kalau salah betul tak? Betul tak Dok? Alright. And then one question, 2 years layoff, if negative attitude, your opinion Dok, should be dropped ataupun we change the player toxic to a new environment. So what is your opinion Dok?
Okay, negatif macam saya cakap tadi, kita dalam situasi yang agak-agak sama kan. Kita tak boleh ambil satu solution yang fast solution to solve benda yang berlaku akibat masa yang lama lah pada saya kan. Untuk drop orang disebabkan tingkah laku dia. Then we don't know kenapa dia tingkah laku, what is happen, you know, apa yang ada dalam, apa kita panggil dia toxic. Kita bukan macam David Copperfield yang tahu kepala otak dia. This happen in sports apabila kita discriminate athlete lah kan. Apabila in certain selection in development of team kita panggil selection everything 50 orang, lepas tu kita start screening. Okay, ni 25 bagus, yang lain lama balik campus and don't play anymore. Pada saya ini keadaan yang screening tu sini menyebabkan kadang-kadang potential athlete tidak boleh berada dalam team. So saya rasa kita tak perlu cepat-cepat discriminate, cepat-cepat have a conclusion ini athlete not suitable for our team, this athlete not suitable for our team. Itu apa our mind, have to buka our team supaya he can perform, everybody can be together. Dan lepas tu kita tengok who are the best among us. And then pada saya, kalau saya tak boleh main, saya boleh tolong angkat back pun, tolong jadi keep boy pun, as long I have that with team, perhaps we boleh perform. So stop screaming too fast lah bagi saya, sebab kita bukan ahli magic yang boleh tahu display best person, display best person. Sebab itu saya tak berapa boleh pi dengan kaedah TID, talent identification sangat-sangat ni. Oh, ini kaedah yang paling terbaik lah untuk identify atlet. Lepas tu atlet yang kita abaikan itulah sepatutnya yang tiba-tiba lebih bagus daripada talent yang konon-konon kita talent ID kan. Itulah pandangan saya lah for in relation to team. Open your mind, open your team, open your chances so everybody can show their potential. Kadang-kadang biasalah coach Jack pun pernah go through kan. Ada kuda training, ada kuda lawan. Training my time guling-guling bagus lah. Bila my competition, ada kuda yang tak train tapi bila dia main competition, dia all out sampai mati-mati kan. So we don't know. Tapi in relation to tadi mindset tadi, macam tadi juga, kita tak boleh tahu apa dalam fikiran orang, tapi kita tahu tentang diri kita sendiri dan tak ada apa siapa yang boleh mengubah kecuali kita yang ubah.
Thank you Dr. Thariq and also Coach Zack for the answer regarding the mind state and also the attitude questions. So I think we will move on to the next question from Nasrul Aizat. Let's say that one of our player has PTSD from rugby incident. Is there any hope for the player to make a comeback?
Apa PTSD? Post-trauma
Yes.
and depression, injury to make a comeback. Ini is quite complicated one kan. That's why I come up with tadi REBT also part of the clinical punya intervention. Sebenarnya dia pun tak semudah saya present tadilah. Oh tahun ni boleh settle. The problem with human being ni kadang-kadang kita tahu tapi kita tak mahu mengakuinya. Ego kita melebihi kepada kewarasan kita. Kita tahu ini memang bukan kita punya tapi ego kita tak. Kalau aku tak dapat, biar siapa pun jangan dapat. Okay. Same here. Apabila dia menghadapi masalah trauma dan sebagainya, kita tak boleh hanya macam tadi satu webinar tak akan dapat mengubah. Saya rasa yang tujuan utama saya come up with tadi punya psychological system, kita ada awareness bahawa kita boleh ubah. Tapi untuk ini kadang-kadang you need to consult with a psychologist lah. Kita kena ada one-to-one punya session, create repo, dah barulah dia boleh cerita. Kalau kita baru-baru kenal, kau datang dari langit pun kau nak cerita kat dia, lu siapa mesti tahu memang masalah kat lu kan. It's not going to happen macam magic lah. You need to have a consultation. You need to have somebody to explore dia. Dan macam saya cakap tadi, you need to have a diagnose session kan. Kadang-kadang mungkin sebab injury, mungkin sebab lain, mungkin sebab belief system lain, mungkin sebab dia he or she want to stop, you want to be in different situation or so on, so forth lah. Tapi most of the psychological skill training yang kita sarankan, most of it are to enhance performance and can be used in your life development, in your study, in your work, because you're going to behave accordingly kan dalam masa ke masa. Sport is not everything. Ada banyak lagi in future yang kita akan endure. Dan apa yang kita buat tu, apa yang kita fikir tu akan menentukan masa depan kita lah. I've gone through, saya rasa most of our athletes have gone through all these situations. Kita study, we're not good in study, we spend our time in training kan, tapi we still can finish our masters dan Kozak kan, we still finish our PhD kan. So you are what you think. Mamat yang masuk matrikulasi 10A tu tak pergi. Okay.
Thank you Dr. Thariq for answering all of the audience curiosity. Ladies and gentlemen, now we have come to the end of tonight's webinar. I hope everyone can get some benefit from our first webinar and utilize this knowledge in the future. On behalf of the UTP management team, we would like to thank each and every one of you, and please accept our apology if there were any flaws. With that, we would like to express our gratitude to all of our honorable guests for their presence here tonight. Not to forget a big thank you to every one of you here. Good night and have a good rest. Till we meet again in the next webinar. Thank you for coming and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.